Now, this is the procedure. I will check chat as soon as I exit from this slide. I had 4 names already lined up. And if you did not already volunteer, you can raise your hand literally on the screen or using the raise your hand function, or add your name to the chat and I will call on you. You have roughly 5 minutes. And if we have additional time before 7, you can come back and read another one. I'm looking to see if anybody else has since volunteered. The first name I have is Madeline. Madeline Beckhaul. Are you there, Madeline?
There we go. Okay, first of all, I just loved everything you all read tonight. I took notes. So before I read mine, I just finished my 3rd novel, which is Hunted to Death. And I can't tell you how much time I spent looking for a quote about ghosts for the front of the book. And I think tonight I heard more great quotes for ghosts than I ever read. I might have to steal some. The poem I'm going to read is an old one. I spent a great deal of my 40 years of teaching working with gifted middle school students. And we did a lot with literature and poetry. And this, we also did a lot with logic and puzzles and stuff. So for fun, I wrote this poem. And in the poem are quotes from at least 8 writers. So your job is to listen and see if you can figure out where I stole the quotes, and then I'll give you the answers at the end. It's called Poetic Mayhem. It was a dark and stormy night when first I felt this dreadful fright, as something wicked this way came, leaving my bookshelves for my brain, to muddle the mind and distract the poetic words I seem to lack. To write or not to write, I say, let me count the ways to take the path less traveled while my thoughts become unraveled. These words the master wove with ease, deranged my poems as if to tease. I pulled my hair, I grabbed my ear, I could not fight the rising fear. The rapping at my mind destroyed the words I could not find. I wandered lonely as a cloud, lost in the firmament, and never more a word I wrote. 'Twas the winter of my discontent. That's supposed to be funny. So here are the part that I stole from. It was a dark and stormy night, is conjured up by the English Victorian novelist and playwright and politician, Sir Edward George Earl Bulwer Lytton, and it has become synonymous with the Victorian melodramatic style. But most of us know it because Charles Schulz used it in his Peanuts comic strip. Something Wicked This Way Comes is the title of a very scary novel by Ray Bradbury, and it takes place during Halloween. To be or not to be, or in this question, to write or not to write, of course, comes from Shakespeare's Hamlet. Let Me Count the Ways, of course, is Elizabeth Barrett Browning from her poem, How Do I Love Thee, that we all had to read in high school. Took the One Less Traveled By is from Robert Frost's poem, The Road Not Taken. Rapping at my chamber door, of course, I used tapping at my mind. And Nevermore, of course, is from Poe's poem, The Raven. I Wandered Lonely as a Cloud is William Wordsworth's poem by the same name, but I always call it the Daffodil poem. And The Winter of Our Discontent is originally from Shakespeare's Richard III, and then later used in the title of the famous novel by John Steinbeck. So now you've had a quick little review of all the literature you studied. And I wasn't going to share this, but for Carolyn, I will. Back in April, now I have 2020, but I think it was April 12th, 2019, Carolyn, when you did the workshop. And she had us write a poem, and I forget now what the motivation was, but mine is titled Nightmares. And I don't think I edited. I think this is the way it came out. Nightmares are temporary madness. A headless horseman stallion streaking across a dark covered bridge, hooves clacking hollow echoes. Nightmares are an angel of death passing by a blood-stained door, or the sea that failed to part when Moses raised his rod. Nightmares are visions a child has staring at a toothless man or an inescapable shadow attached to moving heels. Nightmares are an illness that grips the body and the mind, never to release its deathly hold. And that was for you, Carolyn. That's me for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Madeline. Next, I have on the list M.A. Green.
Hi there. So I'm M.A. Green, and my poem is called You Reap Me Nuts, But You Will Sow It. I need to hear my voice again. You whirled me. Can everyone hear me? Okay. So you reap me nuts, but you will sow it. I need to hear my voice again. You whirled me up with emotion, a part cloud over my head, needles sting from my veins, wounds licked unravel again. See the dust mixed with sweat and dread. Mother, why were you right about who sends rushes of fury that could cause concussion, making everything else seem like nothing? To the one who made this happen, all that is uttered from my lips is this: you reap me nuts, but you will sow it.
Thank you. Did you have another one or?
You can go to somebody else while I get another one.
Okay, that's fair. Next was Steve Bodie. Steve still with us?
An honor to be among such talent. Yeah, I have two or three poems. I'll save one for the end in case we have over time. Revelation in the early hours of sweetness and a velvet hush of night, of dark but not unhappy moments of borderless thought, and quiet moods of nocturnal reflection and slow time. These are the hours when blood runs an unobscured beat, not masked by great purposeful noises and pursuits of the day. It is in these moments that, yet wakeful, I dream of you. Your edges are softened as I recall each vibrant preceding day, now stripped of coarse light that only revealed my own faulty senses. You are closer to perfection in the night, further from flaw my petty mode sight might have magnified. I am less self-defeating in the night, and you arise in majesty, though the physical you slumbers close and serenely at hand. As you flow within the supple linen of your repose, I think of us. We've shared much, and within those memories are travels, trials, children, and living love, mileposts of an improbably grand journey. As partners do, I dwell on profound choices made or given up in my favor as you age out your one and only deeply beautiful life. Night and the long ruminations help me to appreciate and to allow acceptance of a most generous fate, you and me. By daylight, as one, we contest the brute world, yoked like oxen. Okay, thank you. And for the Times, here's a nod to the various social issues called In a Time of Social Unrest. I tried to blame the rich. I tried to blame the poor. I tried to blame the cops and minorities by the score. What convictions were declaimed as norms soured and got so odd? What good choice indeed forsaken to politicos or some mad god? Yes, things were quiet once, vouchsafed in their own space. When I had whim to look at me, what thoughts did I embrace? Did I simply shrug it off, hide away and wish the best? Declare the time's a fleeting trial, hope this was someone else's test. Now, marching past my eyes, the lesser blessed I see, abused, beaten, and betrayed. They all look straight at me. I'm just a man, I want to shout, of average deficiency. Abandoned to a darker age, they all peer straight through me. Such angry eyes and bellies, adjusting unmet needs for more. I never thought to see seeds sown for an American class war. Our citizens are wanting, with scarce jobs or justice yet. Rents are due and meals are few, and the desperate will never forget. Okay, is that my 5 minutes or I got time for a shorty?
Go ahead.
All right. Called Never Too Late. In a world of desperate people, in the land of screwed it up, splash remorseful thoughts unbidden, like sour wine in an unclean cup. A life of bad decisions, of ignoring some moral path, of poo-pooing of mom's sage counsel, or inviting some God's ugly wrath. Bitter folk hold no answers, nor any of their wild-eyed kin. Perhaps moving forward with bulk anger is not the wagon to be in. Instead, focus on some forgiveness. By all means, go start on yourself. Grow rightful from all experience. Treat your scars as true personal wealth. Live and learn, the sages state. Persevere till you've understood. Endure till the balance tips your way and you become a force for good. Okay,
Thank you, Steve.
my turn. Thank you for the opportunity.
Next, we have Jessica Wolsky, who is a Germana creative writing student. She writes fiction more than anything, so she's very brave to join us and read one of her poems. Jess?
Thank you. I would also like to take this time to mention that I'm also part of the Germana Roar, and we're currently taking submissions for fiction, poetry, all kinds of art, and photography. So any Germana students who want to submit anything, it's very much encouraged. And now I'm going to read my poem, Inner Passion. As I walk through this life, my past dragged on a chain. My heart becomes plagued with strife, and only one thing can cure the strain. Calliope comes to help me out, to bring ease to my weighted brain. Putting pen to paper, I start to lose doubt, and only then do I start to feel sane. Words flowing like a river from my mind, such a feeling that I could never live without. In such a way, I have learned to unwind, though frustration comes with doubt. To walk in the shoes of another, to live in a world which I designed, to work me yeah. The work has never been a bother, for it brings me peace of mind. My passion hasn't eased, nor has it ever smothered, for my love has all but teased, and not once has it fallen to sumpter.
Thank you, Jess. M.A., do you go by M.A. or Matisse Maria or?
My pen name is M.A. Green, but you can call me Matisse Maria.
Whichever you prefer. It's your stage again.
Okay, this one is called Creamy Blue Demon Swirl. Blue, serene, the color is. Trust the allure and softness. They deceive because they know this. Think you hear the sound of your voice? Another's imitates yours and doesn't give you a choice. One loop, two loop, they twirl around your veins. Their grasp as tight as chains, even though you never heard a thing. Drink another glass of champagne, even though you know you'll be driving. Don't worry about buckling the kid up in the back. He'll be fine, do not worry about that. She'll never should have left you for your best friend. Make sure you take revenge by stabbing both of them. Go ahead, take the ring. No one's around and the cameras aren't anywhere to be seen. Like a knife spreading the icing across the cake. Beautiful and mouth-watering. The creamy frosting is. Blue demons spread their will into your veins. Once there, nothing is ever the same.
Thank you. So we have time for others. Elaine?
Unmute. Can you hear me? I didn't know this has been so wonderful. Honest to goodness, I'm reborn. This is something that I don't have my poetry in front of me. I didn't know, but I happened to have this in the other room. It's after what I've heard tonight, but it's a sharing. In the stillness of a May morning, from how far beyond sun does truly come this light, which radiance spills now through limpid celestial blue to claim the lush-leafed green dome that sustains me, cradled here in the deep nested peace of these trees, towering oaks of years on earth before my own birth, others as seedlings sown by hands of one I've loved, declaring to me such girth and depth of his troth. With nurturing care, I watched hemlock and redbud, birch, ash, and fir, each burst forth with life and endure trials of windstorm and hail, disease, cold, and drought, and all altered by seasons. Now some grown tall as this house. Now through lucid light seeps a late revelation, just as does all other earth in life. So too must we ever be caught deep in throes of transformation. That's all.
Thank you. Very nice.
I have other. It's wonderful to be able to share something. Madeline, I know you stop laughing.
Well, just another pitch for the Poetry Society. One of the benefits is we meet virtually right now, once a month, third Saturdays at 2. If you want to come as a guest, email me, but we can appreciate if you join as a member. And we do have some business meetings. We have some workshops and we have some just sharing. And we'd like to have more members. In fact, Poetry Society of Virginia in general would love to have more members and more people willing to move into leadership positions. As you can tell by looking at me, I'm really old and will be leaving the planet at any minute. So we do need some leadership succession. And when we look around the room at the board meeting, too many have my hair color. So for many reasons, we would love to have student members. We would love to have other members join us. And once we become less COVIDed, we'll start holding face-to-face meetings and workshops and sharing and so on. Any others who would like to share? We still have a little time before our official sign off.
Can I read one more?
Sure, and then Steve.
Oh, you know, Steve can go first since I need to get my poem.
Okay. Actually, this is kind of written with Carolyn sort of in mind. It's a class of poem that you're familiar with. My brother died on the operating table, had a out of body experience, woke up in a meadow where people greeted him, and then he came back. And for the, he recited all this story to me. And with his serenity in mind, I wrote this poem from that experience called A Cool Breeze, a Sunny Day, and a Comfortable Bench. In the shadow of the mountain, facing eternity for good, I'd like to meet my maker, say, I did the best I could. But the maker is not meeting, and the gatekeeper's puffing grass, and it's really quite ambivalent if he's going to let me pass. In the melody of the queen is marked no tune or line against love, and personally I shall gainsay not what others might wish to snub. All women and men are poets, and word by word through all their lives are writ the sacred terms of self for unread and lost archives. In the human depths of being should lie chaos and despair, but plucky hope runs brilliant deep, though 'tis sourced from God knows where. And if poetry, music, and love have hold, then any life has grace. And should the maker pass my way, well, I won't seem out of place. There you go. Just
Thank
for
you.
the very same experience.
Thanks,
Thank
Steve. Matisse Maria seems to have been replaced by a bureau or chest. Anybody else while we're waiting for her to find her poem?
I'm sorry, I have to feed a very hungry little dog. He eats at 6. So I'm going to leave now. It was wonderful.
Thank you for joining us. Um,
David, I don't know whether you all want to hear it or not. November 14th is the 50th anniversary of the Marshall University plane crash. And on the 40th anniversary, I wrote a poem. It's very emotional, so I don't know if you all would want to hear it, but think about it.
I want to hear it. I really like it. So what, hey, I'm the host. Read it.
I cried last time I heard it.
It's iambic pentameter, and it doesn't rhyme.
Okay, after Madeline will.
It's called I'll find it. For those they left behind. November 1970, a loss, and long flight home through murky skies of rain. The boys of gridiron, coaches, fans sat back to mask defeat in silent, dismal dark. Some failed to make the flight for causes yet to question why. When those aboard lit up the night, the runway never reached, their lives cut short. A plane reduced to ash, a town brought to its knees. Relentless sirens screamed the pain and grief. The smell of death so close it told of disbelief. No earthquake wave moved through the night, no raging storm or wind, but fiendish fingers strummed its violin, and fate played on while green bled into red. The morning stretched from days to weeks. Some we never knew and laid to rest together, where living viewed eternally the souls who left that night. It started with a plaque, evolved into memorials only those men and women could come back to fill. Unlike the bird of myth and lore, return to life would never be. The dead must be revered, the voices from the crowd called out. And so the path was laid with memories for stones. Small steps, then giant strides began as 50 yards stretched into 40 years. And like the phoenix rose, not golden wings, but helmets dressed with 7-5 and winds to fill the dreams in green and white. Their song echoed across the hills, triumphant days returned. And with success, for one more time, the fountain was turned off. But through the night, a light appeared, emerging from inside to warm the hearts of those they left behind. I thought my parents were on the plane because I was living in California. And my dad at the last minute decided he and my mom should not go. And now both of them are gone too. So 50 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Matisse.
Okay, so I'm trying to figure out which one. There's one I wrote a while ago, then there's one I wrote recently. So I guess I'll just start with the one that I wrote a while ago. Criticism arises from everywhere, no surprise. Those around you remind you why the latest incident that happened to you should have been foreseen. If you acted better in this situation, you should not have been. The future that's ahead looks bright, now is dimmer. Why? Because you're reminded all that is wrong with I. Then not only what is now, but in the past is brought up like a fog, eerie, dreary, and making it so hard to crawl forward without stumbling through it all. You're engulfed in memories of those demanding why you couldn't see. What to others was clear as the lake water on a Sunday morning. You could not see, therefore they flogged you with their words. Oh, how they sting. Part of you says they were just trying to remind you not to repeat your past mistakes. But another part wishes they could understand how you perceive that. How the mistakes so obvious to others, you still have to endure today. Yes, partly you are to blame, but when you are hurting inside, even if it is not what would make someone else slowly break, your reasoning doesn't not always allow you the best decisions to make. From the present clouded by the situations and mistakes of the not too distant past, you're reminded that there is something you can do when things around you are not all in your control. When the criticism seeps into your skin, when life is turned in a direction that gives you a new spin. Some people say, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. I didn't get the recipe for lemonade, so what I'll do is this instead. Remember, people have pain worse than yours, and try to center your mind, because to yourself you must be kind, even if you only try. Sometimes shame and guilt make you want to cry. Live and learn, and maybe you learn some lessons later than others, but remember, to thyself, you must learn to be kind.
Thank you.
Is it okay if I do the other one, or?
We still have time.
Okay, so this one is one I just made up. It's called COVID. COVID. You came like a rock. You just fell down and everyone you flocked. COVID. You're so mean. You took away almost somebody who it means deeply to me. COVID. I thought my father might die because of what you did. I wanted to cry. Thankfully, he's okay, but you made me question everything. I thought I'd lose my father and possibly my mother too. I wondered if I would ever see them at my wedding one day. Because everything is just so sad, it made me worry about everything. COVID, you made the world go round in circles. Everyone talks about you all the time. You're the most popular celebrity in this world. And it shouldn't be that way. We should be able to go on with our lives. COVID, you look at me today and you say, hey, you'll never forget me. COVID, you walk like you own the world. People are dying all around. I have to look for a job and be scared if I'm going to get you and get your horrible tyranny that flogs everybody, so no one can just sit back and relax anymore. Everyone's either scared or grieving. COVID, I have one thing to say. You might be here. You might be the most popular celebrity on this earth, but I will not stand back with my life being afraid, because today I'm alive. And today other people are alive, and those of us who are alive cannot live in fear forever and ever while you run amok trying to kill us all, because one day you will be gone.
Thank you. I hope you're right about that last statement. Can't come soon enough. All right. Well, thank you to all of the poets who read. Thank you to our guests. Thanks especially to Beth and Carolyn. The event will be on YouTube. It'll be on my channel. Whoops. My YouTube channel. I will put a link on the Facebook page for PSV once that's compiled and up there. I might need to edit it. I might break it into segments. We'll see. Support your local poet. Once again, here's a pitch for buying copies, or if you already own them, getting them autographed, personalized. This slide will be in the YouTube video as well. I might go ahead and post it in the Facebook page in case anybody wants to take action sooner. And with that, we're done for the evening. I'd like everybody to continue to be as safe as possible. Take care of each other. We remember the North Central region, which goes from King George, Stafford, down to Caroline, out to Fauquier, Culpeper. We meet the third Saturday of each month. Thank you all for attending. Beth, could you hang on when everybody else logs off? And have a good night.